everyone, welcome to Cooking with Millie, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe. Pretty much for the last couple of years I've been trying to find the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe, but guys, a couple weeks ago I found it. I'm talking crunchy on the outside, like gooey on the inside, and it just stays good for the next couple of days and it's perfect. So I'm super excited and let's get cooking. So when you're making chocolate chip cookies, I highly recommend to use a stand mixer. It's especially important in the beginning, and we're going to be talking about that later, but if you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a handheld mixer, or of course just use it by hand. So first you need 1 cup of cold butter. I cut this into cubes, and then you're just going to microwave it for 5 seconds, 5 to 8 seconds if it needs a little bit longer. So the first thing we have to do is we have to cream together our sugars and our butter. This is called the creaming method whenever you're making cookies or whatever baked goods. So we're just going to add the butter that we just microwaved here. And then we're going to add 1 cup plus 1 and 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 cup packed of brown sugar. Gonna lift this up here, and there we go. So this right here is gonna mix for 4 minutes. It needs to take this long to get really creamy and fluffy, and once it starts mixing like this, I'm just gonna bump the speed up a little bit higher. Alright, we're like halfway done, and look how fluffy that is. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Alright guys, our 4 minutes are up, and I'm telling you, if you just take that time to beat your butter and your sugars together, you're totally going to end up on a great start. So we're just going to scrape the sides of our bowl. This part's super important so everything can be evenly incorporated. And now we're going to add 2 eggs. And now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. After this, we are going to stir it for yet another minute. Okay, I just want to pause here for a second and talk about the #1 reason why I think people mess up on chocolate chip cookies. And I think it's because of flour, and people put more than they need to in it. And so when, let's say a recipe calls for a cup of flour, a lot of people will just scoop the flour out and then just go with it. So instead of doing that, I recommend to take your flour and shake it up, whatever container it's in, and then use 2 separate measuring cups to measure your flour. So for example, this recipe asks for 2 3/4 of a cup of flour, and so I have a 1 cup measuring cup and a 3/4 of a cup. And what I'll do is I'll just scoop a little bit of the flour into each measuring cup, and then I level it off. And that will help you from not having too much flour in your cookies, because when they have too much flour, they're just gonna like not spread at all, and they're just gonna be like really hard, and yeah, you don't want that as a chocolate chip cookie. Alright everyone, now of course we're gonna scrape the sides of our batter, and now we're gonna add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients, and we are so close to being done. Just hold tight. Okay guys, our dry mixture consists of 2 3/4 of a cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and also 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. If you're wondering what the cornstarch does, it really makes for a fluffy chocolate chip cookie, so that's why we're adding it to this. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add this. Okay, we're gonna try to add this again. Oh, it would probably help if I had the lever down. There we go, guys. So guys, I'm starting the speed on very low so we're not wearing our flour, and gradually I'm just going to increase the speed. Scrape the sides. Okay, we're gonna stop right there because we don't want to overmix the batter, and now it's time to add the best part, and that's the chocolate chips. Okay, I find when adding the chocolate chips, oh my gosh, it's best when it's not in the mixer anymore, so I'm just gonna take all of this wonderful, perfect batter off, and then I'm gonna stir in the chocolate chips by hand. Okay guys, now is the part we've all been waiting for, and it's time to add the chocolate chips. We're gonna add 2 to 2.5 cups. I start with about 2 and then I add more if I find empty slots. I just use the Nestle Toll House semi-sweet chocolate chips because I just feel like that's the best value for what you get, and they're pretty delicious. And so yeah, there we go. And so you can also use milk chocolate chips if that's what you want, or a mixture of the semi-sweet with the milk, but I already think the batter's pretty sweet, so I just use the semi-sweet chocolate chips. Alright guys, I know the amount of chocolate chips really looked like a lot, but it really is the perfect ratio for the perfect chocolate chip cookie. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take some saran wrap and we are going to put this in the refrigerator for 1 hour. Alright guys, we have refrigerated the cookie dough, and I just want to say you can do an hour, but if you have the patience and self-control for it, I really recommend refrigerating the dough for at least a day. And especially with this last batch, I had it in the fridge for probably like 3 to 5 days, and I'm telling you guys, it makes for a way more flavorful chocolate chip cookie. And what happens is like the flavors inside like just kind of like develop and get stronger. I don't know like the exact science, but it's really good if you're able to wait. And not only that, but I feel like the texture gets a little more fluffier. So if you're able to, I definitely only bake like a couple of these after an hour of being in the fridge, and then like save the rest in the fridge, wait a couple of days, and then make the rest of your cookies, and I promise you it will be worth it. Okay, now we're gonna set our oven to 400 degrees. Okay guys, and when you're ready to bake off your dough, make sure you let it like sit out room temperature for 15 to 20 minutes just to let it thaw out. And then over here I lined a cookie sheet with nonstick parchment paper, and we're just about to get rolling. So for the past couple of years, I thought the only and the best way to make chocolate chip cookies was with a cookie scoop, because you can get like the same size every time. But what I learned is even that way isn't super precise. What I like to do is I like to have a scale and roll my cookies out and weigh them. For this recipe, I make each cookie 3.5 ounces. So as you guys see, I only make 4 because they're really big cookies. I try to put them as far from each other as possible, and then I bake them for about 9 to 11 minutes, maybe 12, just depending on how big they are. You can make these 3 ounces, and you can also make these about 4 ounces as well. Alright guys, the oven's now at 400, so now it's time to put in these cookies. I'm going to put them in for 11 minutes and then check to see how they're doing. Alright guys, it's the moment everyone has been waiting for. The cookies are done, and oh my gosh. I like flattening them out. Okay, the camera doesn't do it justice, but they are so golden. It looks awesome. So I'm gonna let them sit on the pan for a little bit and then I will get back to you guys. Okay guys, if you want to take your chocolate chip cookies to the next level, when they first come out of the oven, you sprinkle some of these sea salt flakes on them. So it works a lot better than salt because of just like the texture and the way it just like settles on the cookie. So I'm going to show you guys right here. So you see they have that cool crispy texture, so I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on there. And there you guys have it. We have the perfect chocolate chip cookie. So I gotta show you guys, if we break it, we just have this ooey gooey perfect chocolate chip cookie. Y'all see that? Oh my gosh. I just want to break one for you guys just to show you this awesomeness. Oh, look at that. Alright guys, I'm gonna give this cookie that I broke in half a taste here. Guys, it's a perfect cookie. We seriously need to try these. So, yeah. Oh, this cookie's hot. I really hope you guys enjoyed cooking with me, and I hope you come back here and do it again. Thank you guys so much. Bye.